Joining me now for a Queen's Park COVID-19 update is our Member of Provincial Parliament, Jim McDonnell from Toronto. Welcome to the show, MPP.
Well, another great week, and the weather's looking up as we go forward, up to Canada Day next week. So, yep, it's good to be able to get outside and enjoy the weather.
Absolutely, summer is here, but of course we are looking towards the fall right now, and what going back to school for our students might look like. So maybe we could start with that. And Minister Lecce talked about three different phases of perhaps getting kids back into the school.
Yeah, they were looking at in the fall. Of course, things are still subject to change as we go through the summer, and the cases are looking good. You know, everybody's working hard to keep the numbers down and been successful. But we see other countries around the world having some severe second waves. So we're trying or wanted to avoid those for sure. But we're looking at three plans. One plans as normal, depending on how far we progress. Another option would be students have the ability to work from home, take school from home. Another would be that they modified where they have the ability to do both, be at school and for half the time and take courses at home. And that would, we want to make sure we give the parents a choice on what they feel comfortable. Every family's different. Some families have students that are parents or other members of a family that might be susceptible to the virus, and they need to make sure that they're more self-isolating. And others, of course, won't have that issue. And we all know that the Toronto Sick Kids come out and reaffirm that children need to be in school if at all possible. It's a big part of their development. So we're trying to make sure we plan for all contingencies in the fall. And hopefully, we may be back to normal, but we'll see how that goes.
We certainly hope, and one of the nice things about this is that school boards will have some autonomy in terms of making that decision, including right here in Cornwall, which is a more rural area, so we won't necessarily be having to live under the same conditions that, say, Toronto, a bigger city that might have more cases come the fall.
Yeah, they've asked each school board to develop plans of how they would handle the three scenarios or parts thereof. And there's a good chance, we'll enter the school year, and as the year progresses, we'll may have to revert, or we may be able to advance back to more normal times, which is the goal. The school year is, next year's school year will be just ending at this time. So we're looking at making sure we're ready. We're looking at purchasing a substantial amount of technology for the students that don't have laptops or other devices like iPads at home, to make sure everybody has the ability to get the services at home, or what we can to make sure the schools are all high schools will be equipped with internet, and we're looking at planning to get most of the elementary schools across the province. Right now, the vast majority are, but there's always some that we've been working on. So we want to make sure we give the greatest opportunity to as many students.
And you mentioned those investments in technology. That was part of an announcement last week that also included investments in mental health support for students.
Yep, we're looking at $10 million for mental health supports. We know that those problems are there. We want to make sure that there's enough staff and additional support workers to make sure that we get through these difficult times. And some students and that are having are able to cope under normal times. These are not normal, and it puts a lot of extra pressures, a lot of extra concerns, and we are seeing some of the results of that.
And announced today a brand new math curriculum that hasn't been updated since 2005. So we'll see some changes, including a focus on financial literacy and coding.
Yeah, we have plans roll out today for, we're starting off with children entering the school have a new system and being various degrees as you move through the higher grades. But we're looking at today that over 50% of the students are failing or not meeting the standards in grade 6. So it was part of our election campaign. We consulted with parents and the public, educators, And this is results of our plan. So we're looking at bringing in, elementary coding at a very young age to get them ready as they move through the system. We have fallen behind a lot of other of our competing countries, and we want to make sure that we bring back our Ontario students so that they're the world class when they graduate.
And finally, MPP, last week we learned about a new tracing app that's available across Canada, but it's a Made in Ontario solution.
Yeah, some confusion over that. It was originally announced by the Prime Minister Trudeau, but yeah, it was an app we worked at with a database in Ontario with our IT group and our IT companies, and we're spreading it around or making it available to all the provinces so that if once we get up traveling, which we hope to see not too distant future, we'll be able to just identify if you've I guess come across or been in contact with somebody that turns out to have the virus, that you're made aware that you've been in close proximity to somebody. So it's another way of enabling us to do the tracing that we'll need to know. If it does occur in an area, we'll be able to identify to all the people that have possibly contacted the virus that they should get checked. So it's all part of making sure that if there is a second wave, that we're able to contain it as best as possible.
And of course, it's always nice to see that type of innovation come from right here in Ontario. On that note, MPP, thank you so much for joining me for this provincial update.
Okay, well, thanks again. And again, ask everybody to stay safe and get out and enjoy the patios and the services that are being opened. Help out our local businesses.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, MPP.
Thank you.